It was a person sitting on the driver's seat and then a monkey holding, I don't know how do you call
The
it.
steering wheel. The steering wheel.
And it was a
Silly Conversations, the podcast. Your host, Denzel Mills.
okay, it feels so weird speaking English with you. So I don't know whether you want me to tell you today is Sunday, I came back from work, I went for dinner to the dining hall.
Yes, it is strange because we've never ever spoken in English, have we?
Never. Actually, I don't think, no, never.
Never?
Never, ever.
Never.
Never.
I think we have everything set up. So,
Okay.
ladies and gentlemen, podcasting people, another silly conversation. And from a person who has, I think, a very responsible job. A person who has made some major changes in life. And that could be very interesting to find out how she actually did them. She's a marine biologist. So she's going to introduce herself. Her name's Ma, and she's going to introduce herself. Ma, welcome to the fantastic podcast, Silly Conversations. Tell the world,
25.
tell the world who you are, what you do, and then we'll get
Yeah.
into it.
So, so as Denzel said, I am Mar, a marine biologist, oceanographer, currently living in Saudi Arabia, actually in Neom, that is nowhere to be found in the map, but it's Saudi Arabia in the north, really close to Jordan and Israel. I am living here for a year now.
You're in a place in Saudi Arabia, which at the moment doesn't exist, close to Jordan. So my question is, why?
Why? The most interesting part is I am working in a coral restoration project that is really nice. Together with the university, I am not going to make any, I don't know how they call it, publicity of my company, but no, it's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean,
American one.
you can make publicity because believe me, I checked the other day and I think I've got 10 subscribers. So,
That's good. That's
I mean,
good.
there's going to be 10 subscribers, and it just so happens the CEO of your company is going to listen. I doubt it very, very much. But anyway.
Anyway, yeah. So yes, I work for a company that is called Coral Vita. So we are a coral restoration company, very new company.
Right. So, most people, like me, you think Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, you think desert. Now, I'm not a genius, but I'm not stupid. I know corals
Yeah.
are related to water.
Yes.
Saudi Arabia
Yes.
is associated with desert, not water. So enlighten me. What are you doing? Where do you get the water from?
I mean, we are really close. Neom is really close to the Red Sea. That is probably the most beautiful sea I ever seen,
Okay.
ever. So yes, I mean, I cannot see the ocean or the sea from my window, but it's kind of like 10 minutes away.
All right, so
So
close.
yeah, very close. So that's why one of the main reasons that I am here. Red Sea is incredible, amazing, and it needs some help. So that's why the University of Saudi Arabia, together with a couple of companies here and there, is trying to get the baseline and understanding on how the coral reef is doing here before everything happens. Because here they are building this city
Mm-hmm.
that is to be for super mega ultra billionaires, millionaires. But obviously, when humans are around, they tend to destroy everything with construction and all of that.
So maybe you don't know the result at the moment,
Mm-hmm.
but imagine your research basically says that this new city, which will
Mm-hmm.
probably be a new country, the way things are going in the world, this new city or new country will cause significant damage to the corals in that part of the Red Sea. And you
I
write
shouldn't
and
be
you write
saying
that
that.
report, you write that report and you send it to whoever, the university. Do you think it's going to have an impact?
um, I mean, we are here to help. So not to say that people is doing things wrong. When you are in these type of countries, you need to be really conscious, really careful
Hmm.
of what you say, how you say it, and who you say it to.
That's very nicely put. That's why I could never work in most companies, let alone in Saudi Arabia. That's very good. But
Exactly.
then, so I mean, we had a chat previously the previous week, and I've been saving some of my questions and just interest for this recording. So let's go back several years because you said you're at the moment you're currently in Saudi Arabia, but where were you working before?
Before I worked for almost 9 years in Dubai. I don't know if you know the Palm, Dubai, the
Yeah.
Jumeirah Palm. There is a beautiful hotel there called Atlantis.
Hmm.
And then there is a beautiful aquarium there. So I moved from Valencia to Dubai to work in that aquarium. And I was going to stay 1 year. 1 year was two, then almost nine.
Yep. And the thing is, I mean, many people don't know this. I do have a small apartment in Dubai near the hotel. Life as an English teacher, very profitable if you know what you're doing. You were in Dubai for 8 years, did you say, or 9?
Almost nine.
Okay, so let's go back a few more steps before Dubai. Where did you work in Valencia?
In Los Angeles.
The question is, how did you, or what made you make that decision? And what was, well, more importantly, what was the sensation like getting the job offer in Dubai and then deciding to take that job offer, which I suppose was a contract for a limited period of time, 1 year or 2 years?
Mhm.
And Dubai is not exactly round the corner. So, what was the
Mhm.
sensation like thinking, okay, I'm going to be leaving, going to a new country where maybe you don't know much about the culture, but the
Mhm.
job opportunity could be good. But what was that sensation like making that decision? And I don't know, what did the people around you say when you said, I'm going to Dubai?
Yeah. I mean, I was in oceanographic 8 years. Life was beautiful. I was working. I was enjoying. But then there was not a space to grow there.
Right.
That's the reality in Spain. In Spain, when you get a position, you don't leave it.
Mm-hmm.
You are holding it like forever and ever. So as a coincidence, somebody called me and told me that they were doing interviews for Atlantis. My English was really bad at the time, extremely bad. And I said, okay, let me try.
Okay.
So I got an English teacher for 3 days and I prepared the interview.
Right. Hang on a minute. The 3 days wasn't me.
No.
This person must have been good for 3 days.
To be honest, I was, it's this time, it's sometimes in life it's just, okay, let me try. Why not?
Yeah.
What do I have to lose, right? So I tried the interview and I passed.
Good.
And I was shocked because it was like, okay, I was not expecting to pass it. But it was good. I was lucky. The people who did the interview with me, one it was Bahamian, and then she's married with a Cuban, so
Mm-hmm.
she knew the struggle with English from Spanish speaker people.
Right.
And then then all of a sudden I moved to Dubai.
Yeah, but there must have been that sensation because you got the job offer, which
Yeah.
probably, or you passed the interview, which probably you thought
Hmm.
you might not do. Then you get the job offer. Then you need to have that thought process in your head. Do you accept? Do you not accept? Do you accept? But we're talking about a completely different place, different culture. What was that going through your head those days when you decided, okay, I'm going to go, but what am I entering into?
The good thing in Spain is I had the option at the time to get I don't know how they call it in Spanish. It's kind of unpaid leave, so they hold your position for 1 or 2 years. So I say, okay, let me try. I can try. salary was exactly the same as Spain. However, they were offering me accommodation, meals, transportation, medical insurance. So it was kind of, how do they call it? Pocket money.
Yeah, but it was better.
It's better. Yeah, at the end, it's better. But life in Dubai become super, super expensive. But anyway, it was like 9 years ago, and I said, okay, let me try. Um, and then yes, then it was scary, to be honest. I
Hmm.
cry a lot in terms of I cry
But were you crying
because
before you left or whilst you were in Dubai or the whole period, both sides?
the whole period. I mean, I was crying. I was living in a super beautiful apartment in Plaza del Ayuntamiento, the city center or the city hall. I don't know how they call it. My apartment was beautiful. I was walking everywhere with bicycle, going to the oceanographic. So my life
Quality of
quality, it
life?
was quality of life, it was amazing.
Yeah.
I was having my family. I am from Valencia, so perfect. So leaving my apartment, leaving my family, them leaving them behind, it was I cry a lot, but I was like, okay, let me try for 1 year or 2 years. What it could happen if it goes wrong, I can always come back to oceanographic, right? They are
Right.
holding my position there.
Yeah, that's true.
And I am very goal driven person, so it's kind of like I don't want to live always in a survival mode in terms of salary, renting an apartment. Everybody knows how it goes there, right? So yeah, I try. The first day, I mean, it was so funny. In the accommodations they offer based on your position, they offer either you are sharing a room with another person. When I say a room, it's a bedroom
Yeah,
with a tiny toilet
right.
that you need to open the door, go sitting on the toilet, sit, and then close the door. Otherwise, there
Yes.
is no space.
I've been to a place like that before. Yes.
Exactly. So then, and then either they offer you on share room or on a single room or a studio or an apartment based on your position. So, in my contract, it was saying like I was going to have a single room. But imagine an American Californian girl came to pick me up at the airport, super like not really the most nice, not the nicest person. So she picked me up. We went to the accommodation, and they gave me the key, and I opened the room, and it was somebody in my room.
Okay. Sitting on the toilet?
No,
Okay.
thanks God, no, no, but in the bedroom covered with the duvet or
All
whatever you
right.
call
Yeah.
it. Yeah, and imagine it's a bedroom. Persianas, they don't exist in Dubai,
Yeah.
right? So you
Hmm.
have all these blackouts or black whatever curtains. And it was funny because I tried to open the door and all of a sudden somebody was moving under the duvet. It
Hmm.
was like no, 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 and I don't know where I got all this. I don't know, the feeling of I am not going to stay here. You told me with my very little English to an
Yeah.
American girl, I'm not going to be here. You told me that it's going to be a single room, and she was like, "Oh, but the housing office is closed, so we need to wait a couple of hours. Do you mind waiting?" It's like, "No, I don't mind waiting, so I will wait." Don't tell me where I got the
So
energy.
this was the first day where when you arrived, yes?
First day, first day.
Right.
With my luggages and everything. So and then finally they gave me my room, and my room was like terrible. I was having my super beautiful apartment, decoration, furniture, and all of a sudden I was having these two beds with a blanket.
What was that first, if you can remember, what was that first 6 months like? Because I think when I moved to Spain, that first 6 months, I think, even though I was teaching English, so everybody was around me during the day, the other teachers, etc. But then there was a point when you turned on TV. Well, then again, I'm talking about quite a long time ago. We're talking about when the Greek gods were walking the earth. There was no internet. There was no
Lighting
Netflix
on.
or exactly. There was no Netflix. There was no internet. There was no nothing. So, but that sensation that you go out on the street or you turn
Mhm,
on the radio or whatever, and it was just a different sound. Whether you
mhm.
you you knew the language or not, it was just a different sound, and that was like that first 6 months. So, thinking back, can you remember what it felt like those first few months, being away from home, being away from your apartment, not having people close to you, that if you needed some help, etc., and then getting to know the new team or the new people you were going to work with?
Mhm. Really hard. Extremely hard, as I say. I cried every day. I mean, I was coming back to my room crying with headache because it's frustrating, right? So you go to a place, you cannot communicate. You think that you speak English. That's what happened to no most of the Spanish people, but Spanish people of my age.
Hmm.
You think you speak Spanish? You think you speak English, and then when you try to communicate, you knew grammar, phrasal verbs, and a couple of things more, colors and numbers, obviously. So communication, it was very frustrating.
Right.
Um, I had a couple of people that they were like a little bit more conscious how
Right.
difficult the
Yeah.
English was. But overall, the good thing for Dubai is a very multicultural place. So it's not all British, not all American. So people needs to try, at least needs to make an effort to understand each other.
Okay. Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was super tiring mentally because it's like constantly at the very beginning you keep on translating constantly. So very tiring, very frustrating, crying, as I say, every day for 9 months. I was crying every single day. I was coming back, then I was having a lot of problems with food
Right.
because they were giving me the food. There was not a cooking facilities, so you had to go to the cafeteria, get in the food, and then I was so used to it. In Valencia is very a lot of fruits, veggies, whatever.
Yeah, the quality is very good.
Very good. So I was struggling a lot. I had a lot of allergic reactions. I got parasites several times. So
I mean, what were you eating to get power? I mean, anyway, we'll skip over that. But I mean, my mind. What were you eating to get parasites? But anyway,
anyway,
are you sure you weren't eating the fish food?
I was not eating the fish food, obviously not.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah. No, but then you need to clock in, and then before COVID, you had to put your hands in a place where everybody was putting their hands.
Right.
And I don't know if you remember, but I bite my nails.
Yes.
So
Do you still bite your nails?
depending on the time. So currently, it's little bit, little bit.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm looking at the image here on Google Meet, and believe me, they're just fingers. There's no nails. They're just fingers. Just fingers, believe me. She has a little bit of what they call nail varnish, but really it's just finger varnish. It's just finger varnish. So
That's
then so
cool.
then so you started really at the bottom in Dubai, and then when you left, at what position did you have in Dubai?
Yeah, I started as a team leader, so it was not Roland is not like the bottom,
Right.
but let's say like step number one. I left being operations manager.
Okay.
So that was one of the that's what I always encourage everybody to move,
Hmm.
go to another country. Yes, you are going to suffer, you're going to cry, you're going to struggle, but then you will grow, you will make a lot of contacts.
You will get
Uh,
parasites
you will get parasites, exactly. You will
occasionally.
get allergic, occasionally, exactly, allergic reactions. But you probably, if you are willing to, I think Dubai is a place that um, if you work really hard, you can get certain things.
And this is what I was going to ask you, because do you think you would have ever attained this position or the position that you left with in Dubai in Valencia?
No, impossible. It's impossible. It's impossible there. Actually,
Well, you can say, because remember, I'm editing.
if you're going to edit, but then just a year after I moved from Oceanographic, they offer me a way higher position than the one that I had before I left Oceanographic.
Okay.
So they really value people that moves
Hmm.
and kind of like
In most situations, the normal thing is in most situations, if people actually commit themselves, show that they have skills, abilities, etc., in general, those possibilities should be there. Now, as you said at the very beginning, if people are not prepared or people don't move, if it's very limited, and those people with those particular skills, biologists, etc., marine biologists, are very few and they want to be where they live, then the chances of them actually moving on or the person above them moving on makes it very, very difficult. So you then had your life for nine years in Dubai.
yeah.
And in terms of the actual place,
Mhm.
Okay. What did you like? What didn't you like? In Dubai, in Dubai.
In Dubai. I mean, what I like, I think, I mean, it also Dubai is a place that you can see the weirdest or the more, how to say, the most weird things ever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have seen monkeys driving. I have seen a tiger on the beach.
Stop.
Yeah.
Did you did you say one moment here? One moment here. The sound's going sometimes a bit funny. Did you say you've seen monkeys driving?
There are certain neighborhoods that
Mm-hmm.
are mostly for locals. And after working, I was teaching Spanish to some kids.
Okay.
And then I had to go to those neighborhoods that are normally not the neighborhoods that you normally go.
Mm-hmm.
And in Dubai, people like to show off. They like to nice cars, the most powerful, the tallest, the highest. Everything is something. And then some of the locals, not offense here, but they like to, I
Display.
will
Does
say,
display their wealth or
display.
display? Okay.
Exactly. And it was like I was around the neighborhood going to get the bus. Advice: never go and use public transport in Dubai. It's not worth it. It's a waste of time. So then I was walking around and I saw, I don't know, it was kind of one of these 4x4 super fancy kind of matte color or whatever. And yes, it was a monkey. It was a person sitting on the driver's seat and then a monkey holding, I don't know how do you call
The
it.
steering wheel. The steering wheel.
And it was a monkey. Obviously, the monkey was not using the pedals
Of
because I
course,
guess the legs were not that long.
unless it was some abnormally tall basketball
Yeah,
playing
exactly.
monkey. Okay.
Exactly.
But ladies and gentlemen, I'm thinking of expanding my business in English teaching. I may contract a few monkeys to do some classes, just to kind of widen the business. Because if they can drive cars, I'm sure they can give a few classes. Beginners, obviously, beginners.
Yeah.
We're not going to go to Mars level and higher. No, no, no. We're going to start with beginners, but you never know. A few monkeys giving a few classes, colors, numbers. I might consider it. And then how was it getting to know people? Because like you said, there was going to be an international group of people, I suppose, who were working in the aquarium in Dubai. You said there was an American Californian type woman there as well. So what was it like getting to know people and trying to get your own friendship groups? Was it hard, difficult?
Really hard. Really hard. I am not a people person,
Okay,
right? So,
that's why we get on.
exactly. I hate people actually. So it's really hard. Dubai is a place that is there is a lot of people. The turnout, how do you say,
Yeah.
the turnover is the people moves really quick.
Mm-hmm.
So either you stay 1 2 years, five. So people was moving pretty fast. So this Californian girl, she left after 6 or 7 months. So my team was constantly like moving people here and there. So it was hard, very hard. Then there is a lot of cliques. So I was they were in my group. They were Filipinos. So Filipinos, they like to hang out with Filipinos, Sri Lankans with Sri Lankans, Indians with Indians. So it's a little bit like the difference in language, culture, and
Yeah,
all of that.
so yeah, but I think that's quite normal if you go somewhere and I suppose when you arrive, you're automatically going to associate with the groups of people who are more similar to you, the British with the British, the Indians with the Indians, Spanish with the Spanish. And quite possibly then that also makes it more difficult to step out of those
Mhm.
groups to get to know other people. Even if you want to, sometimes the people within those groups don't allow you to do that, and so it makes it quite hard.
Yeah, I mean, in my case, I mean, we were Atlantis. I think when I joined, we were like 5,000 people, and then only five Spanish.
Right.
So I didn't get the chance. I mean, yeah, I only met two of them.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, at the end, I mean, real friends. I only made, I would say, a couple of them real friends. They were Italian, so obviously the culture is pretty similar. One of them I already met him from Valencia before, so it was the only time. But then it all depends what do you want in life, right? So in Dubai you can party as crazy, you can go shopping as you want, or as much as you want. But then I was not at the time of my life,
Mm-hmm.
so I was not partying a lot. I was not the salary, obviously, unless you get a high salary, you cannot go to brunch. Right now is this super cool thing like brunches. And now
Yeah.
it's more common, but at that time it was like then you pay like 150 euros for a brunch. It was
150 euros for a brunch.
but then is
And is the
yeah.
waiter a monkey? Because for 150 euros, I'd want the monkey to bring the brunch in the car.
No, but exactly, but that's the thing. I mean, people there, what they normally do for brunches is like you pay, you go to the hotel, you pay for the brunch, you eat, but then it's as you drink as much as you want.
Right.
So alcohol is it was at that time very limited in Dubai, so only certain places they were selling alcohol. So obviously, people were going to those places just to
Yeah, to drink and basically.
enjoy
And
what it
if it's
was
not
selling.
your
So
thing, it's not your thing.
no, and also I was really it was I was having a couple that they were Spanish, and then it was like I cannot afford. I mean, you also need to be conscious about your limitations. So I couldn't afford spending like 150 euros every weekend.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it was not going to be. I was going to be the same in Valencia, like survival mode, like paying
And
bills, and
also,
that's all.
basically, why spend 150 euros when you're going to get parasites and vomiting, etc., and other things? So
Exactly.
it's like
Exactly.
he's literally throwing money down the toilet.
Exactly.
So you had that, and then you said you were in Saudi. You have been in Saudi Arabia for about a year now. Yes. Again, another change because obviously, I suppose you could have stayed in Dubai or decided to come back, or maybe I don't know what the options are around the world, but I suppose having the position that you had in Dubai, having the experience that you had in Dubai, it could have opened other opportunities in other parts of the world. But you choose to go to the north of Saudi Arabia where there isn't a place apart from the Red Sea. So that movement, how did that happen?
It happens. I mean, contacts is something that is really important in life.
Hmm.
So when you work in a place like Dubai, you always meet people, and then if you work hard, and then I always say like work hard in silence and make let the success make the noise, right? So I am
Hang on a minute. We've never spoken in English. I've never heard this phrase before. Repeat. It sounds very cool. Sounds very cool. Say it again, my friend. Say it again.
like work hard in silence, let the success make the noise.
So work hard in silence. Let the success make the noise.
Yeah.
People, remember this. Remember this. I like that. I like that phrase.
Check my
Gosh.
Instagram.
Is it yours? Or did you steal it, borrow it, kind of
Yes, I
find it?
borrow. Let's call it borrow.
Borrowed, yeah. Like
Borrow.
that. Yeah.
No, but it's true. I mean, if you're not the type of person that is constantly announcing or I don't know, speaking out loud or the things that you have
Mm-hmm.
or you had done, you need to work hard, right? And in these places, sometimes even being a woman, and
Mm.
that's your reality, it takes a little bit longer or hard. It takes a little bit more effort. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well,
I don't want to
well, I
go
want to
into
touch on that about being a woman.
that.
So the kind of movement to Saudi Arabia was obviously people saw how you work, appreciated you had the right contacts. So again, when that was offered to you, again, you have some experience of that side of the world. But again, with my lack of knowledge or maybe even prejudices, Saudi Arabia. I mean, somebody says, Ma, come and work with me in Saudi Arabia. And you say, oh, of course.
Yeah. No, no. I moved here because my husband. We were in a pack,
Hmm.
so we were always trying to work together. Again, we worked together in Spain for few months only, and then we wanted to work together in this project. So obviously, as a woman, it feels way easier if you are with.
Right. Yeah.
Um, However, I am alone now. So, but yes, of course.
She's
But
one
that being
moment.
said,
She's alone not because she's divorced, okay? For other reasons, just in case people think,
no.
no, she's
Okay.
still married and happy. Yeah.
Obviously, I was checking how was Saudi Arabia. My husband lived in Saudi Arabia ages ago,
Hmm.
and but then Neom is not as Saudi Arabia people feels that it is.
Right.
So people here, you can go in shorts, you can go in your bikinis.
All right.
You don't need to cover. However, you need to be conscious, and then you need to respect.
Right.
So, if I go to the city that is the closest city is 2 hours away, I normally wear my abaya, that is the long black dress,
Hmm.
just as a respect, because obviously, I don't want, and then people tends to look at you and to stare at you if you are like wearing certain types of.
Or if you're super attractive, I have the same problem. The other thing is though, when you said people can wear bikinis, etc., or shorts, obviously you're talking about the foreign people living there, yes? Um, so I suppose the Saudis wouldn't be dressing this way, would they?
No, they do not. They do not cover. Um, they either are covered with the abaya or with
Hmm.
they cover their hair as well. And some others they wear like trousers and t-shirts, but nothing very, how do you call it, revealing.
Okay.
So they are very conscious
And
about the ones that are open, that are not covered. They are wearing like not really tight clothes.
how do the expat, the expats, the Americans, the British, the whoever, the Europeans, how much do they, from your point of view, try to try to modify so they feel comfortable wearing that they want to wear, but they also respect the general view of other people, because you can think, okay, I'm allowed to wear bikinis, shorts, short sleeves, tight tops, etc. But I'm aware of where I am. So do people make the effort? The foreign people, Europeans, make the effort to kind of be a little bit more um, discreet with their form of dressing, or they just don't bother?
You can really feel people recognize this, and people really are conscious and they are discreet. So but then also Neom is a very remote place, so
Hmm.
everything is under construction, as I call it, is like Mad Max. So obviously when you live in Mad Max, you are not wearing
Right.
like super fancy dresses. So you normally wear like hiking pants or hiking boots and Columbia shirts and this kind of things. So they are not very
Hey,
fancy, sexy.
they could be. Depends
They could be.
on what floats your boat. Whatever floats your boat, you too could think, oh, Columbia shirt and walking boots and some trekking shorts. Wow, hot.
No, but then you can really, it is yeah, people is discreet. They don't, the people that is here working as the expats mostly, they are mature people. They know exactly, probably it's people that had been living abroad before. So you can really see, for example, in my camp currently, we are only 3 women.
But then how
um
many people are in the camp?
in this camp now they say like almost
And you're three
2,000.
hang on a minute, sorry. You're three women out of about 2,000 people. Well, 2,000 men then, yes?
Yeah, there are some Saudi women, but you don't see
So
them much.
she used the word camp. You used the word camp. And then you said it's like a Mad
Mhm.
Max, I don't know, setup, a Mad Max village or an army camp, etc. So obviously you knew where you were going when you first started, and you said that the nearest city is about 2 hours away by car. 2 hours away from anywhere, but 20 minutes away, did you say, from the Dead Sea? Okay, so there's a
Yeah,
bit of a balance. Red
Red
Sea,
Sea,
sorry.
Red
You
Sea.
know, one question. This is gonna be a stupid question now, but it happens to me a lot. So I'm just gonna say it just because of the name, because the name is the Dead Sea, and I was gonna say, do corals live in the Dead Sea? Or is it
I mean, this is the Red Sea, like the color, and in the Dead Sea, there is
I
no
don't know.
corals at
It
all.
just came to my head, and I had to ask the question. I could see myself. Don't do it. But I can't stop myself. So remember, all of you who are doing some kind
Yeah,
of biology, geography, or just general knowledge, Dead Sea, there's nothing. There you go. Yeah.
and that's called
Well,
silly
well, I mean, I
conversations.
was trying to be intellectual there, but obviously it just didn't work. It didn't work. I asked a person once, okay, which is probably, it will be out before this one, but it's just a reminder. And she did surfing. That's what she did. And I said, what's the difference between surfing and windsurfing? And as I kind of asked the question, I knew it was a stupid question. And her answer was the wind. And that was it. And I always remember that. And it always comes back to my mind. But I think the Dead Sea and those corals grow in the Dead Sea, I think it's going to be another classic. So, is there any, if there is any,
It will
I
be.
don't know, anybody from a biological background or even somebody from mountain where like Colombia who wants to sponsor this podcast, um, you can sponsor it, but I can't guarantee the information I will say about your product will be correct. So, and life on the camp, because you said it's literally like a military base or a campsite, yes?
So, yeah, if you have ever watched a movie, so it's exactly the same way. So you open, you pass by security, you show your pass, and then they open and then you go into your unit. So these are like
All right, yeah.
containers, like construction containers, and then there are options either very similar than to buy, right? So it depends on your position. You are sharing with 4 people, with 2 people, single unit or a family unit. Currently, I am living in a family unit. So there are no cooking facilities because obviously they are containers, so they are not. And then you have a dining hall or a cafeteria. They do serve you food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They do barbecues. You have a fire station. You have a clinic. There is tennis court. There are all. You can survive in the camp.
But what do you miss because you've been there for a year, okay? And how long's your project or your contract?
It was actually 3 years, but then we don't know yet. But if everything goes well, probably it's going to be probably 2030.
So, at the moment, you've been living a year where basically, okay, the food and that side of thing is done for you, but can you actually organize something for yourself, or your meal times and your eating times are defined by the time the kitchen is open?
Are defined. So if you miss it,
And then you said there's a supermarket. So, what kind of stuff does the supermarket sell?
yeah, the supermarket in my camp is not the best. It has one shampoo, one shower gel, then two type of chips or potatoes or potato. So it's a tiny supermarket. So
So I
you only
suppose
have
this is
few.
quite good in the sense that sometimes the biggest problem for people who have put on weight or cholesterol problems, etc., is because they eat in between meals. I mean, I would die if there's no chocolate. I would die. But anyway, people eat between meals. So in this camp, really, it's like fantastic.
It is. I mean, unless there is Amazon deliver,
Amazon
so
is
you can
great. Are you
order
telling me
anything in Amazon.
Amazon?
It's great. They
Amazon,
can
hang on a minute.
sponsor.
Amazon, Amazon flies or
Deliver.
delivers to the north of Saudi Arabia, where there isn't a town or a village or a place yet, to a campsite or not military site, but a Mad Max type place, and it delivers.
Yes, they know. They know very well what they do. Is that you can order things and the following day you do have it and
No,
deliver here. So a box of Twix, Kit Kats,
you
and
can get
um,
Twix and Well, I don't like Kit Kats, but Twix, yes, and Snickers.
and then this, what is this British one
Not
that
Cadbury's
it was
chocolate.
super fun in Dubai? The Cadbury, the one that is kind of like
Cadbury's
super
Flake.
fluffy.
You can get,
Yes,
ladies and
flake.
gentlemen, really, we're talking orgasmic stuff here. Orgasmic flake. Casmic flake. Cadbury's flake. If you've ever been to the UK, you've ever bought chocolate, flake is like, it's like all the good things you can find in chocolate, and it has the same sensation on the internal sides of your body. Cadbury's flake. My God.
But not too little.
Yeah.
So nice, so nice.
And
Yeah.
then what's it
You
like
can get it.
managing the people? Because obviously you have a responsible position there. You have your team of people. So what is it like? First of all, you're a manager of a team. You're a woman manager, and I suppose if there's only three other women and a few Saudi women, most of your team are going to be men or Saudis. So what is it like, the day-to-day management of people?
It's a challenge. It's a learning journey. It's beautiful. The team that I have, they are super young, so it's a huge
Oh, hang on a
age
minute, hang on a minute, 1 minute.
difference and
Mars, she's
generation
saying that
of,
they're super
yeah.
young. Okay, I mean the difference between Mara and me is really, I think, the Egyptians and the Romans. That's the difference in age group. So she can't be talking about them
No
being
way.
super young because she's still young. Yeah,
No, but I was so shocked. Imagine, I was talking to Lamia, that she's a Saudi, a proper Saudi. She prays 5 times per day. She's completely covered. And then she's super funny. She listens rap music and all of this kind of stuff. So kind of like weird. And then it was a day, was like, yeah, because yeah, I born in 2002. It's like, no way, you cannot,
2002.
can't be real.
Yes,
It's like, yes, Mark.
there were things I was doing in 2002 which was probably illegal. In my head. In my head. Thank you for in my head. I need to in my head. Just in case
Just
I
in
have another
case, just
listener,
in
which
case.
is from the Guardia Civil or police or the CIA,
Or
in my
something like
head.
that. And they are going to be checking. So yeah, it feels different. I mean, the project was super new. We are pioneers in these things, so it's a combination of you are in a remote place, in a place that nobody has been before, doing something that nobody has done before, with a team that they never worked before. It was the first time job. I only had a couple of them. One of them, an American, he
Hmm.
he couldn't make it. I mean, he was too much for him. He left after 9 months. Um, but then most of my team, yes, they are men. Nice. Obviously, it sounds weird, but normally when you do an interview now, when I do interviews, I always need to ask, how do they feel getting
Right.
directions from a woman? It feels so weird for Spanish people.
There's still certain macho stuff happening in a kind of more subtle and subliminal way in many businesses and companies here in Spain and in Valencia anyway. So, I mean, if you're upfront and you ask people up front, is it a problem for you? Then at least then you get a response, and then you know how to manage that person based on the response they give you. And has anybody ever said, no, I don't really want to work for you or work in your team, or I want the job because you are a woman?
Not at first, but then you can feel it immediately when they join to the team. And yes, I did experience really
And did you
difficult.
and did you try and drown them in the Red Sea, or just kill them or something? Have you tried it?
No, not yet. Maybe a
Oh,
couple
come
of
on, you've
months
been there
more.
a year. How much more time do you need?
Yeah, yeah. But then your glass gets full and drop by drop, and then I'm pretty patient people
If I
person.
understand correctly, I mean, because obviously you're collecting corals from the Red Sea, not from the Dead Sea. And so I suppose you have you do
Mhm.
immersions every now and again to get the corals or something like that, yeah?
Yeah, we do have a team. I mean, the university has a team
Mm-hmm.
that is doing the collections for us. So I give them kind
Mm-hmm.
of the supermarket list or the shopping list, and they deliver based on there is a lot of technical constraints and then a lot of uh, things. At the end, my company, we are the operators of the coral
Right.
farm, like land-based
No, because I
coral
was just
farm.
thinking if one of the people who is a bit so-so with you, you could actually say, listen, today you're going to go on the immersion with the university, and then I don't know if I should be continue saying this out loud on the air, but I mean, if there happens to be an air bubble in the tank or something,
Maybe something more natural, like a shark.
yeah, but the thing is with the shark, there's a possibility of escaping. I think the air bubble in the tank is a guarantee.
Yeah,
It's a
way to
guarantee.
go.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, obviously, I'm not trying to get Ma sacked, lose her job, because she's been very, very successful. And I ask questions which are a little bit, let's see, out of the box, because I'm a person who experiments with ideas. So it may stay in. If it does stay in, it was just general conversation because it's silly conversations. And if it's edited out, well, you'll never know. So kill them all, kill them all.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I work. I mean, I always say that this place tests your patient every single day. Since the moment, from the moment that you leave your unit and then you are taking the car driving to your
And do you have, I
workplace.
suppose, within this group, because you don't have any problem, obviously being a woman driving, because I suppose this is not in the kind of main cities and complex of Saudi Arabia. So you're kind of just in an open space, yeah. But when you said you go to the the nearest town or city, which is like a couple hours away, you're driving, yes.
I prefer not to because the road is in between mountains. There are a lot of speed limits, radars. People here tends to go really close to you. If they see that there is a woman driving, they tend to flash you. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I hate driving, honestly. So if I have somebody else who prefers to drive,
Like they do in the films, and you could shoot their tires. I haven't watched any about the weekend. I was watching like an adventure kind of thriller movie, and there was a bit of shooting and car driving, and these may have influenced my conversational points in this conversation with Ma.
yeah,
So she's not going to shoot anybody's
no, you
tires this month or
no.
this year, but you never know. What's your plan? Because you said you've got a couple more. Well, the project is still, got a few more years to run. It seems like you're enjoying what you're actually doing.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
After this, do you think you'll be coming back to Spain? If you thought now, based on now, what you know now, after this project or the time's finished, do you think you'll be coming back to Spain? Or do you think you've got this itch and you may go to somewhere else because you're good at what you do and people may just claim you and say, Ma, come here and come there?
Honestly, it will all depends on how much they pay me. My goal is to be able to go back to Spain, closer to Spain, and probably in Europe. But it has to be a place that the weather is nice, that I am close to my family, that I can be by them. I mean, be with them, not missing all the moments that I have missed already. And
It's
then,
one of those things about when you live abroad, and I think it's one of those things where I think only people who have lived abroad a very long time, but when you're away for a very long time, as much as you try to maintain that contact, you lose it maybe in your case, because of time and working, so maybe the conversations are not daily or every week or every month. And you lose that kind of contact because you're also trying to maintain your own life and set up your life there. And I think that's one of the things that many people don't kind of talk about or recognize when people are living abroad, that you do have a different relationship with, even if it's family, your parents, your brothers, your sisters, nieces and nephews, if they're around. Probably some of them you don't even know because they were born once you were living there, and in a sense you are a stranger.
Yeah, I mean, it is probably the hardest part. Is the hardest part, to be honest, is you are missing a lot of
Mm-hmm.
moments, good ones, bad ones. Yes, I mean, I it was also during the COVID situation, obviously. So everything changed. So yes, you are missing. But then I am happy that technology exists, WhatsApps, and all these video calls and all these opportunities. The time difference is not that much as of now. So I think WhatsApp is a very quick
Yeah.
communication tool, kind of. But yes, you miss a lot. I miss them. I mean, it's probably the worst part. It's the worst part of missing. And then when I go back to Spain, that I try
Mm-hmm.
to go at least 3 times per year, when people ask me, it's like, what do you want to do? It's like, I just want to do normal life.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to walk around the city center, getting a coffee, enjoying the view. I don't want to do like super cool
Yeah. But
parties
do you get the sensation
things.
that when you
I
come
just want
back,
to,
do you get the sensation that you see things that you should know, but you don't know? You see the changes and things, places that you look at and you think, oh, I know this place, but I don't really know because maybe they've modified the streets, the roads. Maybe you go to a coffee shop and you go around the area and you know it because it looks the same, but it's kind of like you're missing something. You know, you're not part of it. You observe it rather than you are part of it. Yeah.
absolutely. You are totally right. So that's how you feel. That's exactly how you feel. You feel like I am in Saudi Arabia, or when I was in Dubai, I never
Mm-hmm.
felt like home in Dubai. It's a place without soul. Don't,
Mm-hmm.
not offense to anybody, but it's a place that so you are I am here. I don't feel like I am at home. I go back to Valencia.
Mm.
I don't feel like I am at home. I go to my in-laws, and then I don't feel, so it's kind of like
Yeah.
you belong
Yeah.
to nowhere, kind of.
Well, I
You
mean,
know how
now
it
really
feels,
in
right?
Patrice,
Or
I'm
no?
I'm I'm waiting them for to put a statue up in the plaza. You know, I think I deserve one, and I'm if the Queen didn't die, I'm sure I would have got a medal from the Queen because of my services to people from the British whatever it is. Yeah, was it British community from the Queen? Give me a medal. Well, she's dead. King, give me a medal. And in Plaza Patrice, for sure, there's going to be a statue of me soon. They may even change the name of the square. Yeah, call it Plaza
Yeah.
Denzel, eh?
It sounds cool. It sounds really cool.
Hey, Plaza Denzel,
Yeah,
vamos a quedar en Plaza
exactly.
Denzel.
Angela.
It's like, and I'm still alive, and I'm
Yeah,
thinking,
let's go.
no, it's going to remind me back at school. At school, no one could pronounce at school. No one could pronounce my name because I was one of the very few people with the name Denzel. I don't know where my parents got it from, but there was nobody in Britain, I think, at that time. I never knew anybody with the name Denzel until I was about 21. And I heard that somebody was a politician, and then everybody knows the name Denzel now because Denzel Washington, but it's spelled differently. But I always tell people Denzel Washington can't give a class like me. Actor, Hollywood. But he couldn't tell his present perfect from the past perfect and a good explanation of it. But maybe he knows the difference between the Dead Sea and the Red Sea. Yeah. But
Maybe.
and I think I said at the very beginning, but it's the first time we've ever spoken in English. When we spoke last week,
Ever.
and I woke up on Monday and I thought, oh, we're going to do this podcast, and I thought, oh, I've never ever spoken to Mara in English in all these years. And so it's very cool that English teacher for 3 hours you had, believe me, If anybody wants a good English teacher, contact Mark because this guy's a genius. He's a genius. 3 hours of
No.
classes and she gets a job. Saudi Arabia becomes manager. She moves on. Now she's living in a Mad Max campus, heading up a team of people. If I could do that, I would be very happy.
No, but it's obviously when there is a need,
Yeah.
you need to, right? I had so many times like I was trying to say something and I still doing it. I mean, most of my team members from Coral Vita
Hmm.
Bahamas are Americans, so yeah, sometimes the words are a little bit different, and then you try to do something and say something funny, and it's not as funny as it sounds in your head.
Yeah, well,
So
that's true. As you know, sometimes I have ideas in my head and they're not the same. But the thing is, and this is what one of the things I think, I always try to get across to people. We have English language for passing exams, English language for university and these kind of things. But when we talk about functional language, the language you need to do your job, the language you need to sell your products, the language you need to actually get on with other people, the mistakes, the errors, these things are not so important, but it's about that personality which builds your relationship with people. The person who is, even in Spanish, the person who is grammatically correct and, is always a bit boring and dry. A person with no sense of humor, I mean, really, it doesn't make life very interesting. So, what would your recommendation be, or what would you say to people? Like I said, there's not many who listen to this. Maybe in about 50 years' time, when it gets like 100 listeners, what would you say to people who maybe in a similar situation to you, stress about the language, stress about their English, stress about the the opportunities, and probably don't take these opportunities because they think they don't have a good enough language level?
do it. Do it with fear. Do it. Do it. I mean, yes, as I say, you will cry 100%. You will cry. You will struggle. But not only with language, also with your personality, you will become a way stronger person. And I have met people in Dubai that they didn't know how to write or how to uh, they didn't know grammar at all of English, but um, I don't know how they call, but it's humble lesson. So the way that they speak, obviously not much better, but at that time the way that they spoke English, it was 1,000 times better than mine. And they didn't know how to write it. They didn't know grammar. They didn't know anything. But the way that they were able to communicate, because it was
Yeah.
a need. They had to do it, and then they were practicing, watching films, videos, music, whatever they were doing. Um,
And did any of them listen to a podcast by any chance?
at that time, there were no many podcasts. It was not that trend the podcast, but now I can suggest them to listen to
Exactly.
silly
And
conversations.
you too, when you come here, when you come back, you can then pick up one of these. And
Yes, I
only
will.
those who have been on Silly Conversations will know what one of these are. If you want to get
Mhm.
in on the game, if you want to get a bit of the action, contact me. We'll see. But Ma, thank
Yeah.
you very much. And the thing is, this is so kind of interesting. And obviously, I'm recording this, then we're going to edit, and it will come out, I don't know, 15 years later by the time I finish in editing. But I would really like to kind of get back with you maybe in 6 months' time, a year's time, or something like that to see how things are going, your corals, see whether or not you've populated anything in the Dead Sea, because you could be very good. Maybe it could be a project that you have to make the Dead Sea not dead. And then and just find out
Yeah.
how it's
Let's
going.
see.
And when you are in Valencia, let me know, and at least I'll give you a little present for being on the podcast, and we'll catch up, of course. But you never know. If you tell me when you come, maybe I can find a flake.
I can bring you flakes.
That sounds better. Mark, this has been so interesting. It's been really, really nice chatting to you. And you got a super good level of English. You're really cool, actually. It's really cool. And
Thank you. Pleasure.
I don't know, it's just nice seeing you. Nice chatting with you. and let's keep in touch. So thank you very, very much for your time. And ladies and gentlemen, those of you who are at home, please give a small round of applause. She won't be able to hear it, but give a round of applause to Mara for her fantastic contributions. And you too, your homework, find this place in Saudi Arabia. I dare you. You'll never find it. It's at the end, that's going to be your homework. Find this place in Saudi Arabia. Mara, say goodbye.
Thank you very much. It has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for your time.
Well, absolute pleasure. Don't be creepy now. Don't be creepy.
It has been.
Okay. Well, listen, you take care, yeah?
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
The voices and the names have been changed in this podcast to protect the wicked. For any grammar, information, or correction, please ask someone else, not me.